this is a wonderful school who has amazing educators who are so passionate and dedicated to the work of supporting students. So without further ado, I think it's our largest group as well. I will, and our tallest group I'm seeing as well. So we're going to give it to Gault Elementary.
Well, thank you so much for hanging in there and being with us. And it's been inspiring to hear how the COE in so many places has really integrated what's happening in all those places. So we really, at Gault, we want to thank Jason and Stephanie and Roland and Jeff and Ferris for really starting this off to get going. And our principal, Amariah, who's not here today, who's essential to our team. And then we've just been so inspired by our sister school, Bayview, with everything they're doing there. So thank you so much. So we're Los Delfines Digitales, and it's kind of the dream team, as you can see behind here. But we are all dedicated to integrating CS and digital literacy into the daily curriculum for our students. We also want to really collaborate and empower with our colleagues to make sure that this is happening for every student at Gault, and also include parents and in our entire Gault community. Gault is a Title I school of about 300 students, and we're a high percentage of multi-language learners. And so we just want to make sure we're providing them the best education possible. What we're going to show you is just a tip of the iceberg of what we're doing at Gault. So please come visit us because we're very proud of what we're doing. So let me introduce the dream team here. We start with, where's my next? Oh, who's got the slide? Okay. There you go. Okay. So we have a really diverse team, starting with Aiden, who is a first-year teacher. He's our music teacher at Gault this year. And he brought a lot of fresh ideas, really comfortable with technology, and really just a different perspective than some of us veteran teachers had. Daniel, speaking of veteran teachers, and he's been our tech coach for many years at Gault, and just deep knowledge of technology. But I think even he pushed himself this year, don't you think, with building computers in every class? I mean, with every student. And then Katie, another veteran teacher who does a lot of technology, although she doesn't think so. And this year she pushed herself into doing amazing things with all her second graders. I would say, though, the key to doing this is Erin, who is our tech TOSA. And she works with all the schools in the district, but we are lucky to have her at our site. And without her, this wouldn't have happened. And I really want to thank Erin, but also Santa Cruz City Schools for having the idea of getting a tech person in there to really support and also to show us what to do. So none of this would have happened without Erin. And finally, I'm Barbara. I'm the library media teacher, and we have done a lot of digital literacy in the library in the past, but I think this just brought it together and pushed me to a level that was not always comfortable, but I did it.
When we started with our program, we started with assessment. Our team started with assessment, as all of our teams did. And we looked at, okay, what is our digital literacy? We took this self-assessment that was provided to us, and we found we had a lot of places we could go, and a lot of opportunities is the nice way to look at it. And so then we decided that we needed to sort of get a little more buy-in from our site before we really decided what we were going to work on, before we had a plan in place. And so we went back and we had a great professional development meeting with our site, with Stephanie, with Jason, and we together came up with some plans. And one of our teachers and feedback from that professional development shared with us, today was a valuable time to reflect collaboratively on our site's digital literacy, realizing that we had many common understandings and impressions about the route the school needs to take has been inspiring and motivating as we look ahead to the rest of this project. So with these teams, we came up with some sort of shared definitions and a vision that we wanted to use going forward in our ShiftED journey. So the definition we came up with digital literacy, we wanted something that was really tight, that was really punchy, that really hit all of the communicative points that we needed it to hit. So we have the interaction with, fluency with, and application of technology to safely create and collaborate while integrating critical thinking skills, right? It's just taking all these ideas that we know, but putting them in a sentence that we can use as a backbone for our project. And then we worked with ourselves and our site to come up with a vision for our site, having to do with our digital literacy plan. So we at Gault School envision a community in which all students have safe and equitable access to technology and the internet. We accomplish this by integrating digital literacy in the classroom, partnering with our families and parents, and strengthening our community's greater understanding of the responsibilities of digital citizenship. So you can see how we went from our definition, and then we found all these other nooks and crannies that we felt that we needed to cover with our digital literacy plan, getting our parents involved, strengthening our understanding and our responsibilities, especially. We expanded out to our vision. So with our vision and our definition in hand, we set off on our ShiftED journey, and Daniel's going to tell you all about that.
Thank you so much. So as educators, what we really wanted to do was we really wanted to find a way to put all of that together. And we decided to go with digital portfolios as our driving medium in order to help students build those digital literacy skills, help the teachers build those skills, and also connect with our community, with our parents, and with that we were working with. And one of our biggest highlights was that we presented along with Bayview Elementary School at Spring Q. And so we have here our digital website for our ShiftED, and we have included our roadmap in there and all of our different artifacts from our journey while we were developing our project. One way that we did that was when we created our digital portfolios. We worked with a lot of the teachers at our staff meeting and at our professional development, and we asked them, well, what kind of things would you like to see in a student digital portfolio? And so every grade level got together and decided, okay, we want to have, maybe something, a writing, maybe a video, maybe a picture. And so we have two examples of digital portfolios from the second grade and the fifth grade. And so the students, we worked with the students on how to upload those artifacts, how to make sure that they were shareable, and also how to make sure that they were safe. Because we talked to students about, making sure that we don't include your full name in there or any kind of identifying information. Let's, keep it to your first name and your last initial, building that safety along with the skills of how to download those images, how to take pictures of your artwork from your art class and upload that. Also, Barbara, our librarian, worked with our students too with Common Sense Media to help develop the safety in all of our grade levels, as well as creating a page where they could add in like the different kinds of books that they read and read reviews about the different things that they did. And then these portfolios that we created for each grade level, they include the ability to add more in the following year. So like the second grade portfolio also has a page for when they're in third grade and when they're in fourth grade and when they're in fifth grade. And my students, when they started working on their digital portfolio, they were so engaged. They were so excited. They could customize it. They could build it. They were like, can we work on our digital portfolios today? Can we work on this? And it was really inspiring to see how much they could do and how they could figure things out so quickly and then help each other work on it collaboratively. And we didn't this was the three artifacts from my class that we wanted them to do, but they went beyond that. And they were like, no, we want to add these other things too. And we want to show. So we went to science camp and I had like 300 and some images. And I was like, how am I going to get these pictures of these to all these different kids? And I uploaded the folder to my Google Classroom and they were able to open it up, go through the pictures, upload the pictures to their digital portfolio underneath. I mean, it's cut off, but underneath there, they added the different artifacts. Like, look, this is what it looked like, mom and dad. And so they were able to share. And I had some videos of them singing songs that they were like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And they added it to their digital portfolio. So if you go to our slide, you can actually click on these two to see the examples. These are two example portfolios, and you can see some of the things that she included in her portfolio about her trip to science camp. And so what we did then is, and then Aaron worked really hard on it too, is creating the QR codes so that when we had our open house and the parents came to see the digital portfolios, not only could they see it on their student's Chromebook, but they could actually take the QR code home and they could look at it with their phone and they could see their child's digital portfolio on their on their phones. And that was so meaningful to those families. They're like, wow, you guys did this, you know how to do this? And to have a published web page was really really neat for those families.
And we did it TK through fifth grade.
Oh, yes.
And so
TK through fifth grade.
TK and TK kindergarten, first grade, all had one classroom page. So instead of having individual portfolios, we made one classroom page, and within that page, each student had their own subpage. And so that was the one way that we could kind of make it a little bit more manageable for the teachers in TK through first, and then second through fifth, they have their own page. So in the next year, when we get our first graders going into second grade, they're going to be able to take their page stuff from kindergarten and first grade and upload it to now their second, third grade, fourth grade pages. And so this is going to be an existing living document for them because it's in their own Google Drive for as long as they're in Santa Cruz City Schools.
And then so we also did a lot of CS as well. And so the second grade TK through second grade, 7 teachers at our site worked with the Kibo robots and integrated them within their curriculum and developed on how to model how a volcano works and use ELD strategies in that as well. I know Barbara worked with the book lights, and they created circuits, which they took with them to science camp, and they were excited to have these little book lights with them. So it was actually meaningful because they were building them for a purpose. We also use cognitive content dictionaries in order to build some of those CS computational thinking vocabulary amongst our students. And then students in my class also, they created the Piper kits from the county office, and then they built it in collaborative teams, and we also uploaded evidence of that into their digital portfolio with their pictures. Again, like, I gave them a folder with all the images, and so they were able to add that as well. So I'm gonna hand it over to Katie.
So as you can see, we've had quite a bit of work done this year in our journey with ShiftED. ShiftED has really been an incredible experience, and I think we've been inspired every step of the way from the work that everyone else is doing, and I'm really blown away by what we have seen today. We at Gault, for the last 3 years since the pandemic, have really exploded and grown in our own experience and introduction to computer science and digital literacy. I do consider myself as someone who's been really intimidated by technology. When we went with the pandemic, when we went digital, having to learn, we had basically, I called it our own Q conference at school, when we learned how to use Screencastify and Flip and Seesaw and all of those ed tech tools. It was really eye-opening and intimidating, but it's something that we jumped into and had a ton of growth mindset for. So when Aaron came on board as our computer science coach, we finally had someone to kind of guide us through that. And then now, after those 3 years, this experience with ShiftED has really given us a way of defining our vision. So as Aiden read, just having that vision for what we stand for at Gault, what we need, and what digital literacy and citizenship mean to us, it was really the driving force this year in our experience. Our goal is always to provide equitable access to education to our students. Barbara highlighted that as well, that we have a huge population of multi-language learners, a very low socioeconomic group as well. So in our classrooms, being able to provide that access to technology, that access to equitable education is really our driving force. And ShiftED allowed us to come up with that roadmap and look for what are our goals as the teachers in the classroom, what are our students need, and then how can we reach that to our community. So we have, again, the digital portfolios this year kind of encapsulated every single one of those pieces. In the classroom, being able to support our staff members learn how to use Google Suites, how to, on our own, have the education to upload, to help students create a portfolio or in their Drive to put all of the documents and artifacts that we've been creating and sort of backwards map that. So how are we going to help the TKs and my second graders do something that fifth graders are doing? And we, at our last staff meeting, looked at how far we've come, what we've done, and we matched that to the technology standards. So we had all of the technology standards, all of the teachers sat and looked at what did the students do in producing their digital portfolios and how did we meet that in the standard? And then how are we going to unroll that next year in our grade levels? So in second grade, what do my students, what do they need to know? What did they master? What should be introduced in first grade? What are kinders doing? And so forth. So we have this vertical alignment in connection to the technology standards at our site when we are able to display our digital portfolios. So that was pretty incredible to have that as a roadmap as well. And again, just that equitable access for our multi-language learners. Students are using Flip and sharing their experiences in science or their learning, having the sentence frames and the language with integrated ELD, using Daniel showcased the Kibo robots. So what we did was after our big science lesson using integrated GLAD strategies or integrated ELD GLAD strategies, students were then able to code an algorithm for how volcanoes are formed and then use the symbols and the codes for the Kibo and program it and then explain it to their peers. And we've, again, identified specific goals for students and staff in regards to digital literacy, and digital citizenship is really our next step. So we brought it to our skill team, our leadership team on site, and we're going to have a digital citizenship day next year. Barbara has really led the charge with that in libraries. So students TK5 are getting digital citizenship lessons. However, now we're bringing it to year 1. So what are every classroom doing in order to help our students be safe? And then how are we going to communicate that to parents and families? So we have a plan for a back to school night and what we're going to address for parents, and as well as, again, at our whole site for a digital citizenship day. And again, planning to continue our work with ShiftED next year has been really inspiring and pretty incredible to see how far we've come from where we started 3 years ago, and then also just where we were at in September to now.
Great. And so our next steps, we have done great work, but this has to go bigger and beyond just Gault. For Gault, we're doing our digital portfolios. We had a great open house. Parents were really receptive to the QR codes and having access to their student portfolios so that they could see it and embrace the community around us. We have matched, as Kitty said, the standards to the skills that students need to know at each and every grade level. We're looking at more professional development. We had a great professional development day in January where teachers were able to learn how to encompass some of these digital skills to then go back to their classrooms and be able to teach to their students. And we are hoping to expand our family events so that not only our students are receiving this literacy and digital citizenship and digital literacy, but that we can also access our families so that they know the skills as well to really help embody our community and to boost them up. And we're working with IT department to align our goals, which we are building a scope and sequence in our 5-year tech plan to align to all of these missions and visions. So Gault and Bayview work together to have a vision statement for the district. That vision statement is now going into our 5-year tech plan and to a scope and sequence where we can really see this come alive district-wide and not just in individual schools. So we're really excited to push this even further and to really hopefully eventually see digital portfolios in every student's drive and using it and really embodying all of the skills that we've learned. And we can't thank Jason and Stephanie enough for coming on campus, for being part of this and to really make this a reality for Santa Cruz City Schools.
Again, it takes a village, and thank you for the teachers' dedication, the hours after school, supporting it, building lessons, and really trying to make a difference for our students. So thank you.